How's it going, everyone? This is Adam from Slurve, Ship My Money on DraftKings, and I'll be breaking down today's pitching slate for you for July 25th. I think today's a pretty fun slate. The pitching pricing I think is pretty interesting. There's no game in cores, so you don't have to worry about that. I think today's just a pretty fun day to play. So starting on DraftKings in cash games, there's really three pitchers that I'm interested in, and they're in different tiers. So at the top, it's Noah Syndergaard at 11,100. He obviously still has concerns about his arm fatigue and bone spurs and stuff, but I think you kind of just have to assume that he's fine because the Mets wouldn't be risking his, future next season if they really were concerned about his, his arm. So even though St. Louis is a scary matchup, Thor just has such strikeout upside that he's still got a really high floor even in a tough matchup. The one thing to look out for with him is the weather. Obviously, in cash games, if the weather stays iffy in New York, you're going to want to go somewhere else. In the mid-tier, my favorite pitcher on DraftKings is Dallas Keuchel at $8,000. He's not someone that has a ton of upside in this matchup because the Yankees really don't strike out a lot, but they also hit really poorly against left-handed pitching, and he's a much better pitcher at home throughout his career. So he's someone that I think will give you a good start today. I don't think he has massive upside, but I just expect, a good start out of him. And at $8,000, he should be, worth it. And then Jake Peavy at $6,100. He's facing the Reds in San Francisco. The Reds are an offense that I use hitters from a lot because I think they really do have some good hitters, but they get a huge ballpark downgrade here going to San Francisco, which is the best place to pitch in the majors. And Peavy's a fly ball pitcher. The Reds strike out about 22% against right-handed pitching this season. And while Peavy doesn't have an elite strikeout rate, it's good enough. And his swinging strike percentage and the percentage of pitches that guys chase out of the strike zone are also good. So you expect, if anything, his strikeout percentage to tick up a little bit as the rest of the season goes on. But also being a fly ball pitcher in San Francisco, he's going to get a lot of fly ball outs, and it's really going to limit damage against him. So I really like him. I think he's a safe option at that price. On FanDuel for cash games, I really just want to go with Jake Arrieta. He's finally priced like a very good pitcher, but not an ace, which is what he is for fantasy purposes. And so at 10,600 against the White Sox, I really just want to go there. He doesn't have the weather concerns that Syndergaard does or the arm issues that Syndergaard does, and he's in a much better matchup against the Chicago White Sox. For GPPs, there's a few mid-tier guys that I'm really interested in on both sites. And the first is Michael Pineda at 8,800 on DraftKings, 8,100 on FanDuel. I've been high on Pineda all season, and for the most part, it has burned me because he just gets ridiculously unlucky every start and then gives up a home run. But it's a boom or bust matchup with the Astros today, and that's what you really want out of your mid-tier pitchers in GPPs. Pineda's got a 14% swinging strike rate this season with a 27 or 28% strikeout percentage. And he's facing an Astros team that hits really well, but they also strike out a lot against right-handed pitching. And so it's a spot where I definitely don't mind having a lot of Pineda, but then having some Astros stacks to, balance that out because he does tend to occasionally make mistakes in the middle of the plate to get hit really far. So I think that's a good idea. But if I have to pick one, I would just go with Pineda. On DraftKings, Ian Kennedy is way too cheap at 7,300, and he's too cheap on FanDuel as well at 8,000. He's facing an Angels team that doesn't have a lot of power, and they're playing in Kansas City, where Kennedy's been much, much better. He has a 30% strikeout rate this season, and he's another one like Peavy. He's a fly ball pitcher. And in Kansas City, you have to really hit it well to get it out of the ballpark. And for the most part, the Angels don't have power. So when Kennedy's not striking guys out, he's going to probably be getting fly balls that will really limit rallies and limit damage against him. Jeremy Hellickson is 8,300 on DraftKings, 7,300 on FanDuel. If Justin Bour is not in the lineup, he's expected to return sometime during this homestand. I'm just not sure which day. If Bour's not in the lineup, then I really like Hellickson. He faced this Miami team last week, and I liked him in that spot too. Miami really struggles with all-speed pitches, and Hellickson's got a really good curveball. And he gets the ballpark boost here going from Philadelphia to Miami. And his underlying stats this season are just really good, and nobody ever plays him. So I really like him in this spot, especially if Bour's not in the lineup. Peavy, I think, is in play in GPPs. He doesn't have massive upside, but he's just so cheap that, he doesn't need to do a ton to be worth it as long as you get the bats that you want. Syndergaard, I think, is definitely in play in GPPs. I think he's going to be really popular, again, depending on the weather. So I want to at least make sure if I roster him that I have differentiated somewhere else. And then my bottom of the barrel guy is Jared Cozart at 4,900 on DraftKings, 5,900 on FanDuel. The issue with him, other than that he's Jared Cozart, is I like him a lot less on DraftKings because he struggles with walks, and putting guys on base obviously hurts you on DraftKings. And he doesn't have huge strikeout upside as it is, so it's going to be really hard for him to, erase the points that he loses for base runners. But DraftKings hitting pricing is a lot sharper than FanDuel's, so there's more of a benefit to using a cheap pitcher. So Cozart is in play for me there. And then on FanDuel, where I would like him more, you just really don't need to pay down a pitcher. Like the lowest I really want to pay on FanDuel is down to, like the Kennedy, Pineda, Hellickson range, because those guys still have the upside to get a lot of strikeouts and have good games. Whereas Cozart, you're hoping that he goes 5 or 6 innings, gets a handful of strikeouts and gets a win, which is still a lot of raw points to make up against what guys like Syndergaard and Arrieta and, Pineda are going to do. So if you go Cozart on FanDuel, you really need to be making sure you're getting the best hitters, and that it's not just you're getting hitters you like and then getting cute with Cozart, because then you're losing at every position. So that's what I'm thinking for right now. Stop into the Slurve chat throughout the day, and as always on Mondays we'll have our expert chat at 5 Eastern. Good luck tonight, guys.